Good evening all, and welcome to the latest Friday live stream. And you can see we've got 4 people on the screen and we should have 5. So first of all, Steve sends his apologies. He's working late this evening, so hopefully he'll be able to join us at about 9 o'clock. And then you can see the 4th person, as advertised. We've got a really special guest. We have Tobias from Sea Friendly Reef. So welcome, Tobias.
Thank you very much.
I know we've been speaking for the last few weeks, and we've been lucky to get you on this evening. So welcome. So before we start, just going to introduce all of us. I'm Paul from Fish Palace, obviously on this channel. We've got Jay.
Jay from Jay's Real Reef, absolute beginner, really, with a little nano tank.
Hiya. And then we've got Ross from Bearded Reef.
Evening, everybody. I'm Ross, as Paul says. I'm even more of a beginner than Jay, so I've just hit the 6-month mark with my tank now. So, yeah, newbie of the group.
And obviously we've got Tobias, as was already briefly said. So, Tobias, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm also a beginner, so I started this hobby yesterday. Yeah, I'm in that hobby I started about 8 years ago. And as most of us, I started with freshwater since I was a child. I hope my English is okay. I try to I try my best.
Your English is going to be a lot better than our German, I can guarantee it. Although there might be someone in the comments who is good with German. But yeah, after watching your videos and everything, I would say your English is on point.
Oh, thank you. Next stream we can do in German. Maybe that's better for us. Yeah.
No.
We won't be saying a lot, put it that way, or I certainly won't. So first of all, I think it'd be good to just tell us a little bit about your channel for those who maybe don't watch your channel, but please subscribe if you don't already, and also what inspired you, because your channel was very different, certainly to the 3 of us, and probably most of the channels I've seen on YouTube.
Yeah, the main goal of that project, so for me it's more a project than a channel, is to show what Europe has for reef tanks, because I started this in my study. So I study biology and art, and I had an art project in which I have to cut a video. So of course I took my reef tank that day and I uploaded that on YouTube, and it has about 100 views, so not much. And I tried it with another tank of a friend of mine, and also 250 views. And then I wanted to start in that, and I wrote with a lot of people via Instagram and Facebook, and I wanted to have a summary of reef tanks on that channel. At first I don't want it to be in front of the camera, and I just wanted to show the reef tanks. And yeah, then comes more and more on top, and now we have got a beautiful, loving community over there, and yeah, more than 70 reef tanks already filmed. So it's getting big.
Yeah, and I know you travel around Europe. So how has that been? Certainly, I think since pretty much you started the channel with COVID and restrictions and everything else.
Yeah. So last year I drove about 40,000 kilometers just for the channel. Yeah, it's when you're doing YouTube videos with cars, for example, they can come to you, but you cannot move a reef tank. So I have to come to the people, and that's the fact. So finding all the dates next to my work, next to my studies, that's a hard job. But yeah, just like you said, nobody is doing that, or not much people are doing those reef tank videos from private persons. So there has to be one who who drives through all the countries. Yeah.
How do you?
But I've never been to the UK before.
No way.
How do you find out about it? how do you find out about the reef tanks, or do the people invite you in? They just kind of call you up and say, come and look at my tank and make a video. How do you find out about how these beautiful tanks that you visit?
So at first I have to look myself, because when somebody said, okay, man, I want to come over and film your private room for putting it into the internet, and you've got about 20 followers, they say, yo, get out of here. So at first it was very hard. Yeah. So a lot of people say, oh no, man, not with me. But yeah, with the growing of the channel, it was for me more and more possible to also film very, very unique reef tanks with people also don't want to show on the internet, but they trust me. They also do not watch the videos before. So often they say, okay, you can do whatever you want to. Yeah, so until now, I'm the happy person who normally don't have to look for the reef tanks I have to film, because many people are coming to me and writing to me. It would be awesome to film every reef tank the people are showing to me. But yeah, because I'm a fish lover and a coral lover, but yeah, it's quite difficult because I have to decide what for a kind of tank my followers want to see, and yeah, that's the fact. So I have to yeah, decide what I can show and what I cannot show them.
So do you have to look at not only the tank but also the room it's in? Because I noticed that from your filming, it's not just a tank. You quite often taking the background shots. You're looking at the aesthetics around the room too.
Yeah, keeping a reef tank is for me just like art. So you have got a room design, and that biotope has to compare to that, and that's the point. So when people are sending pictures from their tanks, every time I want to have the whole room on that pictures too, because yeah, it is a very high quality hobby. And when a tank, which is absolutely amazing, but it stands in a garage and there is rubbish next to that, and
that's my two tanks. That's exactly me. I've got two tanks that are in the garage, but they're just purely for my pleasure and for me to experiment, not for anyone else. Although I take videos. I mean, the tank behind me is in the dining room, so you know you come around and see those. The tanks look okay, but the rest of it, you'd say, yeah, doll. I'm not going to film that. No one's interested in racking behind the tanks, and there's a dartboard out there, and there's a load of rubbish out there, and there's you know, Coke tins, and it's got a load of food out there as well. So yeah, I can understand that.
For me, it's not the problem. So as I said, I would watch every week another reef tank, no problem. But yeah, for more than 30,000 followers to film a reef tank, which is not on the standard, is maybe not the best idea. So yeah, it's also hard to tell those people, okay, no, your reef tank is maybe not the one who can find the way to the channel. Yeah, but that's the hard YouTube world.
Yeah, and I suppose you can, now you've got, you know, as many followers as you say, and we can see that you're going to get more people coming to you. So you have to be choosy if you want to keep that level up there.
Yes, that's the point. And I think the most special fact on that channel is that normally I don't show the work behind those tanks. So I just want to give the inspiration for people's maybe have never seen a reef tank before or never noticed that as a hobby, because I've got hundreds of people writing me, oh man, how can I do that? And when you are creating a video, which is going more than an hour, and you told them, okay, you need that, And if you are doing that this way, it's going to be wrong. And those people are afraid of starting that hobby when they see that. And my videos are not very long. So we are talking about 3 to 9, sometimes 10 minutes. And that's perfect. If you are seeing that, maybe you've got a freshwater tank and you're watching that awesome reef tank standing in a beautiful house, you say, all right, that's the reason why I want to start that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we go on, there's a couple comments of one of our regulars whose name's Black Pearl Reef. And I just put his comments up there. That's for you, Jay. So on this channel, if you've seen previous live streams, Jay does like to do a demo. And I think it's fair to say it does from time to time do a Hannah nitrate test that takes how long, Jay?
I've got it down to 1 hour and 20 minutes, I think. I could have the filter, then I can get down to less than an hour. But yeah, it's very time consuming. Yeah,
so Jay's well known for that. And then that's about Happy Meal boxes. So, for example, I only have 2 kids. This sounds like I have a whole herd of kids, but I don't. And they do quite often use the internet whilst I'm live streaming. So I've been known to have a bit of a dropout on the internet connection, and then I have to connect to McDonald's. So there's a couple of comments there. So coming back, so I know you've got a second channel that you released in, was it the last 2 or 3 months, Tobias?
The Reef Relax channel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a comment on here about from DC Reefing. He has it on in the background.
Yeah, that's right. The reason was I hate my own English, and I wanted to create some videos without any voice. So no joke. So the main reason was I have so many videos from all the tanks I visited, and I cannot use them. So when I go for a little tour, I've got more than about 3 to 4 hours of material from those tanks. And in the videos, so in the main video are just the highlights. And I wanted to use all the other stuff for a second channel in which you can see the whole tank in about 10 to 20 minutes for those people who are more interested in how the aquascape is made, for example. And just for the relaxing. So sometimes when we had some lunch or something like that, we can put it on the television, and it's with relaxing music, so no metal, and then we can enjoy the reefs a second time.
Tobias, when everything gets back to normal and there's no COVID and you can come to the UK, obviously we'd love you to come to the UK.
Thank you.
Have you eyed up any tanks in the UK that you would like to film or visit? Have you thought that far ahead? Is there any UK tanks that can rival the German tanks?
Yes, of course.
Yours are very good.
Yeah, but of course. So one public aquarium, the Sea Life in London, would be my first stop because I've seen a few videos and this is brilliant. So that would be one. And in Instagram I am in contact with some people from the UK with awesome tanks, and but it's the COVID point. Just like you said, so you cannot just hit through the lines. It's so sad. At the time I started the channel, there was no COVID, and I've visited the Switzerland and Austria and something like that. That was no problem. But right now it is so difficult because you don't have any further informations.
I wasn't hinting that he comes to look at my nano. I have seen the channel. No, I'd be embarrassed about that. Oh my goodness.
There was a good suggestion there of David Saxby. That would be a good one for you.
Also, absolutely, I don't know if I'm able to contact him, but it will be awesome to visit that tank. So I don't know any other tanks are escaping like that. And with all the technical stuff in that small room, this is insane.
Yeah,
this man lives the hobby. Yeah,
because obviously he owns DD in the UK, so you could probably go via, say, their Instagram page. I'm not too sure if DD have an Instagram page. They're definitely on Facebook on their DD Pro Aquariums. You could probably message them through that.
Yeah,
because obviously they can contact in there. Also, I could probably get in contact with him via someone like there's a local fish shop where I use who's in Harlow, so it's probably about 25 miles from central London, and the guy who owns that knows David. So if you're having problems, we can probably get in contact with him via a couple routes. But I would suggest via Facebook through some of the guys on there in the first instance, because he lives in central London, if I'm right in saying, so that's not far from the London Aquarium. And I'm sure we can, if he was coming to London, we could probably sort something out of a tour of a couple of decent shops, and David is around and that, so we could probably fill at least a day or so for you in London from people that we know. And then obviously if people are reaching out from you from people in the UK, depends on how many days you've got, there's other parts in the country. I'm sure the guys could show you around. And there's people in certain parts where they're local to them that we could sort something out on that side. But it'd be great to have you in there, to host you in the UK. That's for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, UK stands definitely on my list. So I hope this year. But yeah, COVID isn't easy. It's
absolutely.
Yeah.
I need to ask a favour. I want to come and visit Martin's 4,000 litre lagoon. That is my upgrade dream. I think it's just absolutely amazing. I can't imagine how good it is stood in the room. I mean, the room is beautiful as well. Yeah.
Did you see the update video?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. It's awesome. This is so massive. It's with videos you cannot show the entire size of that tank. I always try to, but you never can. So when you enter that room, that tank hits you directly in the face. This is so incredible. So yeah. I know what you mean.
Is that the Peninsula one with the telly opposite it, and it's got the fish room as well? That's got all the kit and the sump and everything in it.
Exactly. Okay. That's directly under the tank. Yeah.
Yeah. So
massive. It's perfect. Yeah. Also one of my favorite tanks, and
Is it your favorite? I mean, that's my favorite tank on your channel. Is it your favorite tank that you've seen? It takes some reason.
It's hard to say. It's very, very hard to say, because I don't have a favorite tank on that channel, because they are so unique and individual. If I say this is my favorite tank, it's also for the other people on my channel not so fair. You know what I mean? So I've got a few tanks I've visited which are so emotional for me because I knew them before. For example, Ralph's Reef in Amsterdam, that flying tank.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew that from a video before. And as I entered the room, I could crying. This was so beautiful. Also, Dave from Switzerland with a little nano, the flying floating reef tank with all the scollies on it. Yeah, I think Paul also did that type of aquascape. And you see, this is a 2,500 liter tank to 80 liter tank, and both of them are so beautiful. And there are a few big projects planned already with more than 100,000 liters in private rooms and something like that. So I don't know what's my favorite. I cannot say.
Wow.
If I would say...
Sorry, you go.
No. Sorry.
I was going to say, do you find it quite difficult to come back to almost reality once you've been to these kind of dream tanks, to not spend fortunes on your own tanks and upgrade all the time and so on?
Oh yes, absolutely. Every time when I visited some bigger tanks, I came to mine and said, "Oh, nice sump." So yeah, it's not the best hobby filming other reef tanks, because you're never you always want to have a bigger tank, and that's the reason. So I've got one rule, one tank, and that's quite good for me, because I had more than 5 tanks at the same time in the past, and you cannot handle that normally. So also with that YouTube account, that I have to spend more than 40 hours a week just for the YouTube account. I'm also creating a third account now for September, and that takes a lot of time. So that's a huge project. So if I've got a few tanks also at home, I cannot handle that. So I've got one tank that's in the back here. It's just a 300-liter tank. It's all standard, just with a few simple corals inside, and that's perfect for me, because I don't have to spend so much time for all the escaping process. It's just runs with water change, and that's it.
Yeah. So just one question. It's been up for a while from Reef King. How did you get into reefing?
As I was 12 years old, I bought my first freshwater aquarium, and I keep nearly every freshwater fish. So my parents were shocked, because they get some huge tanks in my childhood room. I don't get any pocket from my parents, because it was so expensive, all the electric stuff over there. And I had to work in a little aquarium store at that time, next to my school, for more fish and for all the food. So that was my start into the aquarium hobby. And then I was 18, and I've got a bit more money which I can spend on my hobbies, and I decided to do the next step, and that was the marine aquarium hobby. And I started with a little tank from eBay, about 100 euros, and I completely crashed it. And then I started a second time, and I crashed it, and the third time, and I crashed it. So I was not the best example for a reefer at that moment.
So what was the difference? So obviously after your 3 or 4 attempts, what changed between crashing those tanks and then actually having a tank where you kept it stable? Because clearly, if you look at the tank behind you, and I've seen the video when you obviously moved recently, what was the difference, or how did the penny drop, so to speak? You thought, right, this is what I need to do to keep a tank going.
I always thought I don't have to do some research in that hobby. So I knew it from the freshwater system. That was easy. You just put a tank over there, put some fish in. If something is going wrong, you put out the water and put some new water in. I know today it's also quite different. The freshwater guys with all those awesome aquascapes, this is a brilliant hobby. But at that moment, I didn't notice that I have to test my water with all the water values and so on. So I just bought a tank. The second tank was 2.5 meter to 40 centimeters to 40 centimeters. Completely stupid. So if you don't have an idea of the marine aquarium hobby, this is the most baddest tank you can ever buy. So and I had one little Tunze in it, and you can you know what what happened. So I don't have any flow in that tank, and all my corals died. And I said, oh, why? Okay, I've got the perfect lighting over there. My LEDs are brilliant, and the corals are So,
so basically, the answer is research.
Exactly. And when started into all those research, my first tank, get longer and longer surviving.
The questions are coming thick and fast. So the next one is, what tank did you see to make you think I have to try that myself? So is there anything in your existing tank or previous tank or any ambition to think, well, I need to try that, being inspired by one of the tanks you've seen?
Hard question. Because I've seen a Gorgonian tank, and that was the main idea for my aquascape today. And I always wanted to do, I don't know if it's in English also, aqua terrarium. So a mix of a terrarium and an aquarium, but with salt water. That would be awesome. So I've seen a few examples on Instagram. I've not filmed that already. So I filmed a few lagoon tanks, also with some land parts, but not a completely aqua terrarium. That would be one of my dreams. It doesn't have to be very big. So I think 300 to 400 liters, just like that, is perfect. And that would be something I would try myself.
Tobias, when you do that, would you like a crab to go in your tank?
What do you mean? Sorry.
I've got a crab here that nobody wants. If you want it, I can give you it.
Yeah, come over Germany, no problem. Let's do that together.
Nice. I think Ross probably needs to explain the story about the crab before before you jump at the chance to take it. Because it's been quite a story for the last few weeks, hasn't it, Ross?
Well, now that Tobias has kindly offered to take the crab, I can tell him the story now that he's already committed to it. So,
okay, I understand. Yeah.
Basically, it was a Halloween hermit crab I had in my tank, and caught it eating some of the zoas, dragging corals about the tank, basically just causing destruction in the tank. So I put it in the prison tank over here, as we call it, and then I had a bit of a disaster with a tube anemone that stung one of my corals, so I moved the tube anemone into that little tank as well, and the crab has since killed the tube anemone and ate some of the tube anemone as well. So if you want to take the crab, you can have it.
Yeah, I've got that awesome bottle here. Maybe we can put it into here.
Yep, that would work.
Yeah. But thank you.
No problem.
Tobias, your Gorgonians. I really like Gorgonians, and I know there's two different types, I believe. One is quite easy to look after, and the other one is quite difficult. How do you find caring for your Gorgonians in the tank?
There are some Gorgonians you have to feed next to your fish, and they have got very small polyps normally. So I also choose just the normal ones. And
the light, the ones that we feed from light, the photo ones, the light.
Yes, no, they need some I don't know the English word, some dusty food.
Okay, yeah.
And some frozen food also, and that makes so much work. So you have to feed them a few times in the week, and I would buy them as a beginner because they are very sensitive. But with these ones, don't worry, they are so strong. I'm also not the best reefer, so I also do some mistakes, and these animals are brilliant. They have a little character, because some days they don't want to get out. Okay, the other day they are out, so without any reason, I don't know. Everything is the same like the day before, but these animals are too crazy. But they are looking awesome. I've got that wave box inside, and they are floating all the time. That looks so natural. My tanks also already have to look natural. That's my main idea behind those aquascapes. I wanted to have a picture as you can find it in the sea.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. Obviously, you're into art and things like coral coloration, coral choice, positioning. What advice would you give us to creating a real kind of artistic scape and coral placement? It's a really, when you get a coral, you don't know where to put it. And obviously, as an artist like you must have an idea that this sort of coral, it suits a certain place. So I just want some tips about making your reef look natural and beautiful.
First thing is I would already also do one coral species a few times into my tank. So, for example, the Gorgonians, I don't know how many there are inside, but I think this is the main factor why a reef looks natural, because in nature you also do not have just one coral species next to the other. And I think highlight coral doesn't matter if it's a scoly or it did a nice Euphilia, for example. It doesn't always have to be in the main spot of the tank. So sometimes I'm hiding my corals in that reef scape because that's quite more interesting to watch it. So when you're looking in the tank with the typical aquascape, just in the back, some stones, and all the corals are putting on, and my highlight corals are in the middle. Okay, give me 5 to 6 minutes and I've seen everything. But when you're hiding your corals, and also if you've got some different views which are very interesting, my favorite view is from the water surface, to watch my reef from above. And there you can see my whole corals. And if you are watching from the front, you have no idea what's behind all those stones. So maybe this is, I don't know if it's a good tip, but yeah.
What about symmetry? Because nature has a lot of symmetry.
Yeah, I also like to build some cliffs. Maybe you can see it. In the back here. No, it's the softbox is in front of it. I'm sorry. But, okay, in big. This here is a completely cliff inside. So I put up the stones and I have got some holes inside. And there you can also find some corals. So also when you are watching from the back, you find some Encantastrias, and that's very cool for an aquascape, and it doesn't has to be so symmetric. But with cliffs, you can do so much cool stuff. That's also a reason why I would also prefer a reef tank which is has a lot of depth, that you can create a nice scape, because when you just have 30 to 40 centimeters, it's very hard to do a natural aquascape. But when you can put a stone behind another stone with a little hole into that, that's perfect for that type of aquascape.
One thing I was going to ask you about your tank there behind you was you've got a very shallow sand bed. What was the reason for that?
Because I miss buying enough sand.
Okay.
No joke. Because so I'm the person already have just less sand in that tank, but like this it's not normal. So I was very ill while moving, and my friends helped me to move the tank, and my buddy Cedric just said, "Oh man, we have to throw away the old sand. Where is your new sand?" And yeah, That's the point. So there is going to be more sand in the next days inside. Yeah.
So did you not keep any of the old sand when you moved tanks? You put new sand in there?
No, because there is so much dirt. The tank, this aquascape stands since November, and I moved about 4 weeks ago. And in this time, there is so much dirt in behind the stones, and that's everything of that is in the sand. So I would already put some new sand in, because it's not like in the ocean where the sand is moving the whole time. It stands still, and so that's the reason why I also would do some new sand. Also, when you've got tanks standing more than 2 or 3 years, it depends on the size of the tank. So if you've got thousands of liters, that's not the point. But when you've got small aquascapes, 100, 200 liters, I would change the sand after a few years.
Yeah,
it's right that there is a lot of biology in the sand.
Yeah.
But sometimes the sand can include things you don't want to have in your tank, and that's the reason why I personally always change the sand after a few years.
Yeah, and also by moving it around, you can release some ammonia and other gases, can't you? That's harmful for the tank that's built up. That's why I think people either leave their sand alone and don't disturb it, or they'll clean it on a regular basis to try and take all of that bad gunk and stuff out of the tank, so it doesn't build up. I think no matter how much you clean it, there's still going to be a build up over time, because you can't get into some areas to clean it, can you? When you've got a rockscape and it's not totally free of debris and rocks.
And it looks much better with new white sand.
Yeah, absolutely. And then over time, it starts getting cyano and other things as it goes for an ugly stage, and then you start getting a bit worried. Just going back to the Gorgonians a little bit, I've found some people I know, they're quite easy to look after. And then you've got the other ones, a non-photosynthesis, which are quite difficult because you need to feed them. They're quite difficult. I think, Jay, the problem you'll have, if your Gorgonian doesn't come out for a day, you'll start getting worried.
Exactly, Jay. Don't worry about that.
I do want some Gorgonians, but finding the photosynthetic ones in the UK is a little bit challenging. They tend to be more of the ones that you have to feed. I was going to ask you. You said you love the top-down view. Yeah. I've not got a picture of my tank top down because I get a lot of light reflection from the light on the water. How do I take a good picture that's top down of the tank? How do you do it? So I can't.
Yeah, that's very hard. For example, at my project before I had the water box tank, I had the ATI Straighten above my tank. Perfect LED, very, very nice. But this lamp has so many spots, so many LED spots, that I also wasn't able to do a nice picture. So it's already hard when you've got an LED or a lamp. I don't know what for a kind of lamp do you have?
Yeah, so mine is an LED, the Radian light.
The Radian,
All
okay.
I see is the different coloured spots on the surface.
Yeah. So
Jay, what you can do, sorry, but I don't know if you've seen, I think it was Inappropriate Reefer had it. I think it might have actually been Lucid Reef that suggested it. I can't remember who it was. But if you get the Ferrero Rocher chocolate that you get, they come in a clear plastic tray. So you can sit that on top of the water and set your phone in it and then take the pictures through the plastic tray from the Ferrero Rochers.
Yeah.
That works.
Sounds high tech.
It works.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you've got not the natural picture, because then you are into the water.
Yeah.
That's the point. So it's perfect. I also have some nice videos done with those tools. But maybe another idea is to hang the light for that moment a little bit higher. Maybe there you've got less reflections. But what Ross said is brilliant. Yeah, when you want to do some awesome coral shots, for example, in the blue light, there are also some acrylic boxes which already have some yellow and orange filters inside.
Oh, cool.
But definitely the view is best from the top because you've got no glass in the way. The problem is when you've got a cover, it's probably the view you see the least because you need to turn off the pumps and the wave makers, and so therefore it's not a bit of a pain, but you got to do stuff to see it. Whereas obviously looking from the front, but it does look very different from the top. The colours just pop, don't they? You get a far better perspective, I think, of the tank, and I find that the corals look quite different as well from a coloration and also from a shape because you're seeing them from a different angle that you're usually used to.
Yeah.
Paul, can you put that one? Can you give us some photograph tips about how to take good photographs? What equipment do you use? What lighting do you use around your tank when you're doing your photography or you're filming?
Yes. So my main camera is a Sony Alpha 6400, but in my opinion, one of the best photos are taken with a normal iPhone. So I've got the iPhone 11 Pro, and this is the perfect tool for starting reef tank photography. Yeah. So the first videos are completely done with an iPhone. Which I always would use is a gimbal for doing some smooth shots and yellow filters, because sometimes you don't have the opportunity to move the lightings. Oh, my English is so bad today. I'm so sorry.
No, we can understand you.
To change the settings, that's much better. And then you need those filters. But my tip would always be, if you can change the settings, don't look what you see with your own eyes. Just have the camera in front of your tank, change the setting, and take a look what's going on your phone. Because so many people are changing that and say, oh, that looks really nice. I'm doing some photos and they are all blue. So always take a look. And when it looks like rubbish with your own eyes, don't worry. It depends on the picture you wanted to have. So maybe that, which I find very cool, are some night shots. So when you turn that, also when you've got some problems with the reflection on the water surface, you can try that. Turn off the light and go with some white light in front of your tank. And for example, I've got these boxes. They are perfect for that. And there you can see so much awesome animals at night coming out of the reef. And when you've got enough light, you can see everything. You don't have any reflections. You don't have any blue light destroying your picture. That is maybe something you can try.
Yeah.
But for the main videos, it's very important to have enough light and the perfect light for the best settings. The best videos are with T5 lightings.
Because they're not too blue, are they? I find it too. So therefore, you haven't got a saturated picture that you're starting with, have you?
Yeah.
So how much, when you look at a 5 to 9 minute video that you make, how much footage have you taken that goes into that, and how long does it take to edit? Because I know we spoke about this the other day, and I was quite amazed, but it's an interesting point. And how much effort it goes into it? Because I say, hey, it's only 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's so normally one video without the tour sometimes takes about 2 days. Without the tour, only cutting it about 20 to 25 hours. So with the voiceover, for example, maybe you've seen the video from the 240,000 liter tank in Karlsruhe. I've got more than 10 hours material, and you just want to have the highlights from those videos. So it is very hard. At the beginning, I took more than 20 hours for a video. But right now, when I'm filming, normally I just have 3 to 4 second shots. So I know I'm constellating the video before filming, and I know, okay, good, I have to take that view, bam, 3 seconds, that view, bam, 4 seconds, that view, 2 seconds. And this is much easier at the end for cutting the video. So, but yeah,
So
it takes a few time.
Yeah, so you're consciously making a decision in your mind how long to shoot to try and reduce your time of shooting. And then actually, if you've got 10 hours worth of filming to 5 minutes, that takes some editing to go through, unless you know what pieces you're going to use as you go, because that just in itself, just going through that many hours of footage is gonna take a while, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that short videos are much easier to create, but that's not the truth, because it's easy to put one shot behind the other and let the consumer think what's the best one, but I just wanted to have the highlights in a video. My wish is that you see the video, and from the first to the last second, you are amused of the beauty of that tank. And you would be wondering how many tanks there are at the channel which have some dirty corners, for example, or big scratches in the front glass and something like that. So if you've got too much material putting into the video, maybe somebody can see something you don't want to let them see. So it's also the best just to show the highlights from all these videos.
So
Cool.
Are you a full-time YouTuber then?
No. I would like to be, but I study at the same moment, and I've got a normal job in a car dealership, and handling all this stuff is pretty hard. So
This is why you have a tank.
yeah.
I take it you don't sleep then.
No, not really. I don't have any weekends. The most time I'm planning the videos. So it's quite hard to be in contact with all these peoples. Filming a reef tank is the one point, but to get into connection with the owner, to get the right tanks, the right tours for don't wasting too much time. This is the main work at the moment. And I'm a full-time YouTuber, and next to that I've got my studies and my normal work.
Well, that's a lot, and you're going to start another channel in September as well. So you might have one tank, but then you've got three channels, and that's a lot to get content out. I know you're reusing some of the content, but you've still got to edit and think about 5 minutes here, and then an hour on another one, and then you've got the German channel starting as well in September, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also the reason why I have some sponsors, because I have to spend so much time and money for that project that I wasn't able to do that without any help. So I'm very happy to have my companies in my backhand, because they are financing all the camera equipment and so on. And that's also the point why I'm thinking about become a full-time YouTuber. But you are not going to be rich as a YouTuber. That's so if you would see what I'm at the end of the month, I think that would be shocked a few people, because I think the best video from the Nature Reef, around about 1 million views, and you can plan about 2,000 to 2,500 euros for that video. And this is one of the most viewed videos in the reef tank hobby worldwide. And some people say, oh man, okay, you can buy a Ferrari with that money you earned with that video. So that's not the truth.
Yeah, because I think also on YouTube, it depends on what niche you're in. So finance, for example, I think gets more money per 1,000 views and everything. That seems to be the one that pulls in the most. and then you've got other niches that will get less than that. So I think it depends, doesn't it, on what niche you're in, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I'll be leaving work very soon.
Right.
Anyway.
So
I think it's my job. I've managed to earn $11.
no.
What do you mean, Jay? Sorry.
You've got 1,000 subscribers now, though, haven't you, Jay? And you've.
Oh man, nice.
It's not focusing, Jay. Did you get $11?
I don't know if I'll see all the $11, but yeah, in $11. So I think I need to stay in my job.
Yeah, nice. You can buy a few Gorgonians with that, maybe.
I'm saving up for a Gorgonian. Yeah. They're. You've got to start somewhere, haven't you? You have to start.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
But yeah.
Jay, that's $11 more than me. Just remember that.
You're nearly at 1,000, Ross. You're nearly at 1,000.
Yeah, it won't be long before you're there.
I definitely have to check out your accounts after this live stream.
I don't think you've got enough time to do that, mate.
I'm sorry that I didn't do that before. I'm so sorry.
You won't find them, I don't think. They're not.
I find them.
So, Tobias, see some of the tanks that you go and have a look at. Do you find they're all running extremely high-tech, tank setups, or do you find a lot of them are quite simple and basic setups, or are they all kind of lots and lots of high technology in there?
Normally it depends on the owner, because if you are running a high-tech tank, you are into technology and you love that topic, because you are able to run a reef tank with the little technology with some T5s, a skimmer, and some flow pumps. That's it. So if you are into that topic, there are a few high-tech tanks, which is not my first way of that hobby, because I'm doing a very hard job with going into the camera technology and so on. So I'm not that technical guy. And I see also a funny story. When I visit those people, just because you are a YouTuber, normally they think you are knowing everything. So they show their sums and their systems, and I stand there and say, okay, I don't have any plan what you are having in your sum, but they think you know everything. So the high-tech guys are very crazy. One of my friends have a reef tank about 500 liters, and he has stuff everywhere. The whole room is completely full of automatic water change and so on. So you can do whatever you want to, and that's a positive point on that hobby, because when you love all this, you can put all your energy next to the biology part into it. So it's very cool. And to your question, yes, there are a lot of high-end technology, completely automatic reef tanks over there. But I think the main reefer does not have all this. So we are just talking about LED, sometimes even no sump, so with a skimmer in the tanks, and you can also create awesome biotopes.
Yeah. So just looking at the reefing hobby in general in Germany, is it a big market? What's hot in reefing there? Because it's interesting to see what the differences are and what the similarities are across different countries, really.
Absolutely. It is a big market, but I think right now it is going to be bigger. Maybe because of COVID also, because other people are staying at home and don't know how to spend their time. It's the freshwater hobby is much bigger in Germany. That's a fact. I don't know how it's in the UK, but in Germany, if you having a saltwater tank, the normal reaction is, oh man, that's too difficult for me, I'm out. So
Yeah, I think it's the same. Certainly, freshwater is a lot bigger in the UK, and I think there is a perception that saltwater reefing is a lot more challenging. And I think sometimes it's from people speaking to people that are into reefing will then say it's really difficult and put people off. And I think also, unless you do the research, to your point, you can end up making mistakes, and then people will, kill their tank in the first go, and then they're out. So I think it's getting the advice from the right people,
yeah,
and then also doing the research and just starting off slowly, and don't go straight in with aquapora or more
yeah,
challenging fish and things like that, because you can get some really good tanks. They're lovely tanks. They're fairly cheap and look beautiful, basically. So I think it's that advice, and don't overcomplicate it as well.
yeah.
In terms of corals, what kind of corals are hot in Germany at the moment?
We had that scoly time. Everyone wanted to have scolies, but right now it goes to torches, golden torches, also coral. Everybody wanted to have in a tank. But I have to say I'm not completely into it, because I love every coral. I don't have any corals which are high prices in my tank. I don't need that, because I'm I'm just the biology guy, and give me a coral and I put it into my tank. Doesn't matter how much it costs. So yeah. But yeah, I think the Euphilia torches part is absolutely the high class in Germany. How about the UK?
I think it's exactly the same. Torches, if you go back, it may not even be 18 months ago, torches were okay, but there wasn't a big clamour for them like they are now.
Yeah.
The prices have gone through the roof. There's a lot more. Well, I say there's a lot more variations. They've got a lot more fancy names now, which then catch attention. Those variants and morphs were probably there before, but I think Instagram has driven a lot of that as well, because whatever is hot on Instagram, it just snowballs to become even hotter. I don't know what you think, Jay and Ross, around that, because you guys well, Jay, you love torches, don't you?
Yeah, I've been caught up on the torch train. I've ended up in a few different variations, but I get them because I like the flow. So, like the Gorgonians,
Yeah.
you get a lot of movement, you get a lot of sway, and I just think they look a bit more real, as in like natural movement. So yeah, I do like the torches. I know quite a lot of people in the UK do as well. But Ross, you've got a different favourite, haven't you, Ross? I think.
Yeah, so I think for me personally, my favourite, my tank pretty much is zoas and mushrooms. That's the two that I absolutely love. And again, personally, I pick it based on colours. That's the thing for me. So I look at the colours, and that's what I go by. I think it was maybe Colette or somebody mentioned that the other week as well. That's what she does. And if you look at a colour of a coral and think that's the one I want, based on what you like the colour of, rather than how much it costs or what it's actually called. I prefer that. But I mean, there was a comment raised this week that I thought was quite interesting. Well, it's somebody saying, that they didn't want to introduce zoas into the tank because they found them a pest and all that kind of stuff. So it just shows you that everybody is completely different in what they like in their tank. Whereas, I mean, I love my zoas, and that was that person saying that they would never introduce zoas because they were a pest. And I thought it's a really strange, divide between people. How some people love them, some people hate them. It is what's for you. So I don't think there's a right and wrong answer really as to what you should put in your tank.
It's your preference, isn't it? I mean, there's a good point here. Certainly torches are hot. Rainbow chalices, I don't know if they're popular in Germany. Until recently, they were, I think, fairly rare in the UK. I've certainly seen more rainbow chalices come up for sale, not through LFS, but through private and online, probably in the last 6 months, than I'd seen in the preceding 18 months. I know, Jay, you've got a lovely rainbow chalice. I've got a couple. They're probably one of the more expensive chalices. I mean, my favourite personally is chalices. I just love them full stop because of the different morphs, the colours and the shapes that you get. But certainly rainbow chalices are high in demand and less supply than there are for torches, for sure.
Yeah, you seem to, in Germany, you seem to get some of the best corals in Europe coming into your country. You have a really good pick of the bunch. I've seen some YouTube videos showing import corals into Germany. What are the prices? Are they similar to the UK? So for a torch at the moment, it's like £150 per head. Scollies, what are they, 200, 250? How does it compare to Germany? Are you just as expensive?
I think it depends on the exactly species. So if we are talking about, for example, Crocodile Island, Scully, I don't know. I think depends on the size as well. So I think you are going to get them for 150 to 250 euros. And the golden torch, I think the head is also about 250 to 350 euros, round about that.
That's a lot more expensive, isn't it? Because I think torches are just beginning to come down in price a little bit if you shop around, whereas I think a gold torch is probably 170, 200 quid. I've seen them for sub 150 recently, and I picked one up for £100. So I think if you shop around, I think they've gone down in the last 2 or 3 months, torches, maybe because there's more supply, certainly from the UK, unless you're looking for Holy Grail, Jay, in which case I know that they're still probably quite expensive. But the one I got a New York Knicks and then a gold torch, they're kind of 100, 120, which I think is cheaper than it was a couple of months ago. But it depends where you are.
I've been offered a Holy Grail this week, 2 heads for $650, and I just can't afford it.
Did you bought them?
No, I couldn't afford it because I bought a single head. No, I bought a torch the other 2 weeks ago, and that was over £300. So I'm a bit skint now, but saving up. I'm just laughing at Alex's put Alex's message on. Yeah, there you go, Ross.
Boy's got issues, mate.
I love your community here on that stream. It's brilliant.
And then you got Backshift Reefer. You got a split camp, haven't you, between those who love zoas. I mean, if you look at it in the garden, a weed is a flower in the wrong place. So you could argue that with a zoa that it grows too quickly, and some of them can grow quite quickly. It's like mushrooms. I have mushrooms in my tank, and once they start growing quickly, you can try and take them out, and they'll just pop back up. And the same with xenia. We have this conversation quite a bit around those types of corals, GSP, xenia. Some people love them, and they like the movement you get with them and the color on the back wall. And other people, it's like, no, I won't have that in my tank because it will just spread like weed, and you can never get rid of them.
That was beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. I need to get more in my garden. That's what I'm working on. More different color combinations. Which colors go well together? Obviously, as an artist, what color contrasts work well? Do you have certain ones that kind of different palettes that work well together?
Are we talking about torches or every coral?
So kind of just colors of corals.
I think. Yeah, the typical coral is green. So there are so many green or brown corals over there. As you can see, my tank is also not the colorful tank. So I love the natural style, and the natural style is not always the most colorful. What also is very interesting are the macroalgae tanks. They are a bit looking like freshwater tanks, yes, but those colors are hard to find sometimes. So there are yellow, red, green stuff in that. I don't know if you want to have those type of plant. It's not a coral, it's a plant in your tank. But when you've got some corners in which you want to have some other colors, maybe this is an opportunity. Gorgonians also are not the most colorful corals. But
how do you how do you get on with? Is that the mangrove? Is there a mangrove? So how do you find that, and what do you do to care for a mangrove? Because you don't see those often in the UK tanks.
I've got these plants from a friend of mine. So I think also in Germany you do not find them in every shop. But I tried it. So I've got 2 of them just put into my reef structure, and they are growing okay, but you have to take some time with these ones. So
Yeah, they're very slow, aren't they? I heard
absolutely.
2-3 years to really
Yeah.
get it to settle and to get any decent growth that's really noticeable. So makes
Don't
a
they need to be
rainbow
in mud?
chalice look fast grower. So go on, Jay.
Don't they need to be in mud to grow?
What do you mean?
Like in mud rather than sand?
Okay. Yeah.
Mangrove mud.
Some people are keeping them in little baskets with some sand and stuff inside, but mine don't have any sand, so they are just in the rock, and they don't know the English word when they are building these
Roots.
The roots.
Yes. And they are building them into the stone, and it's okay for them.
Yeah.
When I get them, they don't have any green stuff, so I think they are healthy.
They look beautiful.
Yeah, they are lovely looking, aren't they? So
Also-
go on. Go on, Tobias.
No, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, just go through some of the comments. So just some from a little while ago. Marine keepers can learn a lot from freshwater aquascapes. I certainly think when you look at planted aquariums, they look really lovely, and they're quite expensive to run, and they take a lot of care to look after. I've never had one before, but when you speak to people and you see them, they look really good. And George Farmer has a fantastic channel. He's a UK aquascaper, I suppose he is. That's his profession, and he does some fantastic aquascapers. Yeah. Moving on, Tunzi. Yeah, certainly I love Tunzi products. I know they sponsor your channel, Tobias. I've used them for years. I just think they're really reliable. There's nothing sexy about their products. They do what they say on the tin, and they just run and run and run. I find I've had a number of their products, from skimmers to power heads over the years.
Really good products.
We've got a lot of companies in Germany. That's right. I did a water box interview last year, and they also asked me what for kind of companies we have here in Germany. And then I noticed that we've got a lot of companies coming over here. So do you have also some UK companies we know here in Germany? I don't know. So
we have, I mean, most of the products we get, I think, will be American, German. I mean, you've got DD, which is a big company. You've got the DD Pros, and they sell a number of products both here and overseas. What other UK products have we got?
DD is also a very huge company. I have
absolutely.
These camera lenses from DD. They are the best lenses I ever had.
Yeah, because Ross, you use a different lens, don't you?
So I actually didn't like the DD lens. I couldn't get it to work so I use a Samsung phone for my photos, and the DD lens just wouldn't work right. So I switched to the Orphec lens kit, and they're fantastic. I love the Orphec lenses. They're really, really good.
I never tried them. Okay. That's a good point for me. Thank you.
Yeah, I would highly recommend them, actually. They are really good. So I get a much better picture with the Orphec lenses than I do with the DD. But again, I use a Samsung phone, so for you with the iPhone, it might be different. I don't know, but
yeah, nice.
But with that, you have more.
He's froze again, I think.
Oh, he's frozen.
Yeah, so this is the Orphec lens kit here. I don't know if you can see that. But on this one, it's got an orange filter, a yellow filter, a CPL filter, which I think just takes the kind of glare out of the tank, and a macro lens as well for getting the close-in shots. So that all comes with the kit with that. So you get the clip and the 4 different lenses with that one, which are really good too. I like them very much.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's only, I think it was about £30 for the kit here, so I mean, it's not overly expensive. But yeah, it's a really good kit, actually. I would recommend that one.
What for that much different for the price? So go on.
Sorry, what was that?
What for a phone do you have? For,
So I have the Samsung S20 Ultra.
Okay, because I'm gonna check out your pictures, and you are using the lens on your Instagram.
Yeah, so all I use is my
Perfect.
phone and the lens kit. That's it.
Nice.
I was going to say, because the price point on that, I think, is very similar to the DD lens. So there's not much difference in the price of that. And I think also you get 4 lenses on that.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, there's Backshift Reaper said in the comments there he uses Orphic on his iPhone and it's awesome. So I think a lot of people do use this kit on their iPhones as well. And I definitely preferred this to the DD lens kit that I've got. So I don't know, it's worth trying anyway.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
No problem.
Some other comments there. You've got reef elements there that I know is becoming quite a popular product in the UK. People like Kraken sell their products. So I've heard good things about that. Then another comment from Jamie, that's about Royal Exclusive, but I think are they Dutch? Royal Exclusive.
I thought they are also from Germany.
Oh, are they?
I wrote with the owner of Royal Exclusive, and he can German, so I think.
Comment there about DD mainly rebrand other company stuff. I know they've bought a couple of other companies in the last couple of years and brand their stuff. I know certainly their tanks are made in the UK, which is quite unusual compared to Red Sea.
Yeah, Red Sea. Yeah. I mean, doesn't matter where the companies came from. It's just important that we have them. So
yeah.
What about Aquati, Ross? Surely that's.
Yeah, so Aquati is a Scottish company for RODI units. That's obviously sponsors me, and I mean the RODI unit I've got from them is brilliant. Mate. I can't fault that, to be fair.
So we have someone just sneaking in just after 9 o'clock.
Greetings.
So Tobias, this is the fourth member of the team, so to speak. So it's Steve.
Mine and you.
Splendid. Yeah, sorry about the late entrance. I mean, I'm not usually this late, but I've been working. Yeah, I couldn't get out of it, so I've literally flew back about 100 miles an hour, get back here just in time. So yeah.
Business is business, man.
That's right, my friend. That's right. I had to do a bit of work.
Still got the uniform on, I see too.
That's what I mean. Look at that. Straight in, mate. Straight through the door. Didn't even say hi to the missus. I just ran through. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
Dedication, mate. That's what that is.
That's right. Hey, look at all this. My fans all cheering. What's all going on? I feel about the Euros here. What's going on?
Yeah, I didn't think it would take too long to get an ironing comment, Steve.
The ironing board had to come in, didn't it? That's right, mate. That's right. So what for missed, guys? What for missed?
Well, Tobias mainly talking about his channel, his tanks. Talking a little bit about reefing in Germany, comparing it to the UK, talking about what's hot and what's not, so kind of torches. Also about are zoas weeds or are they proper corals? So we had that conversation, which seems that. So it depends what side of the fence that you sit, but we know where Ross sits on the zoa front. He loves the zoa.
And Ross wanted to give me his crab, but I heard that this is not a good idea.
Oh, no.
I did offer the crab before I explained the story, though, Steve, so he was willing to take it. So I think that's fair.
Hey, that's fair enough, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, dear. So where do we go now? So in terms of your favourite products, obviously you're sponsored by some, but outside of your sponsored products, if you look around the different tanks you see and everything else, what are the most popular products that you see on the tanks? And also then, what would your top 2 products that you've had on your tanks?
So I take a lot of care to use the products from my sponsors, of course. But I took my sponsors in a quite clever way because I would also use their products without getting sponsored from them. So think that's the best way you can do that. So in Germany, I see nearly every company or so every products in those tanks. So it's hard to say, okay, people are just having tons of flow pumps or So it's a really hard question. Really hard. Because so often I see equipment I've never seen before. And you would be wondering how often that happens. So the most flow pump are the Aquamedics. The MP60s and MP40s.
The Ecotechs.
The Ecotech.
The Ecotechs. And next to that, the Tunze. So every Tunze flow pump finds a way in a tank normally. Lightings, we've got a lot of AI as the Hydras. We have got a lot of ATI. With the sun powers and the Straitons.
It's interesting. You mentioned Aquamedic. Aquamedic used to be quite big in the UK going back 4 or 5 years. I've still got some of their heaters and some of their kit. But you don't see, I don't think you see Aquamedic in the UK hardly at all. In fact, they used to have decent tanks as well, quite nano tanks that had the skimmers in the back, all in ones, and they were really good tanks, but you just don't see it anymore. So whether they just decided the UK wasn't the market for them or they didn't have a UK distributor, but it was certainly, when I first got into the hobby, one of my second or third tank was an Aquamedic amongst some of the other stuff. So it's just interesting how there's got similarities and differences in the different countries.
So sorry, it's very hard to answer that question, but what I can say is that people normally always have combinations of different companies. I think in the UK it's the same. So we don't have those people saying, okay, I've got that brand and I wanted to have my whole tank just with products from that company. So people normally are knowing very well what they want to have for a lighting and for a skimmer and so on.
Yeah. I think because we're spoilt for choice now, aren't we? I think across most product areas, you've got a choice of numerous different brands. You're not restricted. Whereas it just used to be Apex from a controller was the main one. You've now got a whole range of different ones on the market, which I think from a consumer point of view must be good. Because then we have a choice, don't we, as opposed to locked into one particular brand for sure.
Tobias, you seem to be a coral man to me, very much coral kind of focused. And I haven't seen a single fish swim by your tank, so I don't want to panic you. Have you got fish in that tank? And do you quite like? Do you like fish? And what fish are you? I just haven't seen any swim by yet. I've been watching for an hour. They are in there, are they?
You've got him worried now, Jay.
I've got to search them myself.
Let's have a look.
Yeah,
let's have a look. So what fish do you like what fishes you enjoy in your saltwater aquarium?
So one of my favorite fish is in that tank. It's a little lionfish. So a sharpfin lionfish. And so it's active at night, so we cannot see him. It's Mr. Swim Shady is my little line.
I love it. Yes, I love that name.
I'm sorry, he's very shy. Yeah.
I always wanted a dwarf. I always wanted a dwarf lionfish myself. Dwarf lionfish. Always wanted one. Well, then I heard a lot of stories with them, and I was like, and then it was like, and then I thought, if I'm doing McLean and I know that the poison, and knowing my look, I'll put my hand in and I'll get stung or I'll get spiked. So I've stayed away from them, but I really do love them. But
a very positive fact about that is you keep your hands out of the tank.
Yeah,
really, no joke. Because if you're seeing something which you want to change, you think twice about putting your hands into it.
But when you've got your rainbow chalice and it falls upside down on the sandbed, you got a rainbow chalice. I've got to put my hand in that tank somehow. You know what I mean? That's the problem.
When you said that, Jay's face, I can't put my hand in the tank.
I know. There's no way. There's no way. Is he easy to keep? Swim Shady. Is he easy to look after?
Yeah, normally yes. It's like a little dog. So when you come to the tank, when you come to the tank, he's watching like this. And when he see that you're putting your hands above the water surface, he's directly coming and he's hitting through the water surface and wanted to have his little shrimp. And before I want to change my coral aquascape, or if I have to handle something in the tank, he has to get his food. And then he is searching for a little hole, and there he is for the next hours, and I can do my stuff. So I think it's easy to keep, and I'm that person looking very hard for the right size of a tank for a fish. So in a tank like that, we're talking about 300 liters. I think it's okay to keep fish, but I would never keep a lot of fish in nano tanks or something like that. So we've got a few fish you can keep in here. What do you have, Jay?
No, I have four. Which is in a 75 liter.
Okay.
That's all right. That's good. Is that too many?
So I didn't see some tanks over there. It's okay. No, just.
So I have a pair of clams.
Yeah, that's perfect for a nano tank.
A small
Perfect.
blenny.
Yeah.
And a small goby who's always under the rocks.
I also have a little goby over here.
Gobies are brilliant, aren't they?
I wanted to add a second one.
Yep.
So Mr. Swim Shady is like that, and the second goby is like that, and it has about 5 seconds, and then it was gone. It's too crazy. Those fish are so predators. It's insane.
He's eating it.
Yes.
It's the same as those. It's the same as those frogfish, innit? You know the frogfish. I love the frogfish, but they're just like anything swims and it can fit it in its mouth. It's gone. It's like and
it's
vanished.
exactly like that. But the interesting point is, he gets out of all the fish are already inside. So which comes new into the tank will be always eaten. But there are also some shrimps inside, and he know them and say, okay, you're able to be here. It's okay for me because so I get some food in the evening.
So it's like it's got its own little community there, isn't it? Now it's like the fish like seem to know each other. They have their own little community. You know what I mean? Don't touch him and stuff like that. But it's like my clownfish. If I add a new fish into it, they go for it and they just hammer it no matter what. They just go for it all the time, and that's why I've never added any more fish, into my main display, because it's just cruel. Because I know that the clownfish will seriously do some damage to them. So I bought numerous fish after it, and I thought, oh, maybe this one might be okay, maybe this one might be okay, and no fish has ever survived, or they were on the verge of death. You know what I mean? So I've just given up hope with adding more fish. So that's why I just add more coral. You know what I mean?
That's your excuse, and you're sticking to it, Steve.
That's my excuse, mate. I can't add fish, so I've got to add coral. That's what I've got to say.
Absolutely. Just one question before you come in, Jay. What type of lionfish is it? Because is it a dwarf fuzzy? Someone was asking.
Short fin lionfish. So they became about 10 centimeters.
So it's a big one then. It's a fairly decent size one, isn't it? 10 centimeters. So.
Yeah, like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
So someone just put a comment. Well, Black Pearl Reef as usual. So Jay lost a fire shrimp. Go on, you tell the story, Jay.
Yeah, so I had a pair of fire shrimp, and they loved each other. They played together, danced together, all this. We kind of had a little bit of choreography on the aquascape. But one of them died, and I was genuinely upset about it. And my other shrimp was really upset. And everybody in the reefing community is taking the mick a little bit, joking, and telling me to kind of man up because it's only a shrimp. But I need to get another shrimp. He's missing his friend.
Oh no!
I know.
That's so hard to hear.
I need to get another shrimp. I do. Do you live feed the lionfish? Do you use live food?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah.
They love live food, don't they?
Absolutely, but it's so expensive in Germany.
Brine shrimp and things like that.
Yeah. What about the UK? Is live shrimp also?
River shrimp we get. We tend to get river shrimp, over here. That's what I
the main
feed
one
mine.
I've seen. Yeah,
that's what I feed mine, river shrimp. So you just, the water looks like it's come from a river. Where I get mine from, it's like brown, a little bit of brown tinge to it, and I'm like, where the hell are these?
Come from the Mersey Canal, Manchester.
Yeah,
Mersey
they
Canal.
probably have them, mate. Yeah, you're probably right. So I just drain them all off and throw them in the tank. But yeah, I think if I put that water in the tank with it, my nitrates will go to about 200, maybe. I think maybe like that. So yeah, crazy.
What about completely fish tanks in the UK? So in Germany, if you've got a tank without any coral, I can, before releasing the video, I know the comments, you don't have any corals in your tank and so on.
Yeah.
And then I take a look into the US, and it's normal over there. They've got fake corals. If you put a fake coral in a tank in Germany, they are cutting your head off. No joke. How about in the UK?
I think in terms of if you put fake corals in, it's definitely looked upon that you've taken an easy way out and it looks rubbish. I know a couple of people that got a fish-only tanks and they just love their fish and they wouldn't think about putting coral in because they haven't got to worry about what fish they have. I've got a friend who's got a predator tank. So that one, and then also someone who had a 12-foot tank who's actually started to introduce coral now. I think you certainly on most of the forums and the videos, and I think you see they're mostly reef and coral related. That's the driver. But there are a few people I know that have got fish-only tanks. I don't know about you, Steve.
I personally love that type of tank with just fish, but it is really hard to find people in Germany just having fish. So most of them have, and just like a few soft corals, but there are normal corals in these tanks. So
I think with a fish only tank, I think you need a good scape, a good background, a good scape and stuff like that. Because if it's just like, you can have some wonderful, beautiful predator fish. Don't get me wrong, and stuff. And I love like the puffer fish, the puffer fish. Absolutely love puffer fish and stuff. So
awesome fish.
But you need that scape to go with it. Nathan Willard. Do you remember Nathan Willard? He had a 750, Red Sea 750, and he had a predator tank. It was just like puffer fish, and it had like an emperor angel and stuff like that. And it was stunning. Don't get me wrong. But like he said, it became a bit too much. Believe it or not, like we feeding it and like the puffer fish would go up to the top and it spit water out all over the floor and everything. It was crazy, it was really, really mad. But
sounds like a whale.
Mate, it was. Honest to God, you used to come to the top and used to spit water all over it. It went on his computer. So he was like, "That's it. I've got to get rid of it."
Got to go.
Yeah, I know he found it quite challenging, didn't he? I think
he found it hard.
Become quite big, and as you say, there was spilling water on the floor, which is obviously no good for the carpet and anything else. I think it became a bit of a nightmare, and then he obviously closed that down and downsized to the Nano, if I remember rightly. So he went from a 250 up to the 750, and then back down the other side. So whilst the perception it's easier to look after, I think there was unexpected bumps in the road that just drove him mad in the end. I think, and it's just too much hassle.
Well, that's it. He had a 250, didn't he? He had that Red Sea 250, and then he upgraded to the 750, and then that was just he had that for about a year, and you could see he was losing the will to live. He was like, I've got to change this, And then he sold that and then bought a smaller tank.
Yeah, and also I think he had things like Regals and some others, and I think he had White Spot as well that was introduced. So I think even if you have a fish only, the mix of fish you get, it could be more problematic than having a reef tank, because whilst he had a rockscape, it wasn't massive. There wasn't loads of hiding spaces, was there? And that's not being critical. That's just an observation around how big they grow. And it was what's that? 750, a 5-foot tank, or maybe that's a 6 foot.
Six
so
foot.
That's not massive if you want a fish only with fairly large fish in it.
Not massive compared to what Tobias has seen. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Some of them are 20 foot long. I'm like, oh my God, my dream tank. It's like incredible. There's that one. Which one's that one in the middle of the room? It's like in the middle of the room. It's like it's the greatest tank I've ever seen in my life. I said to the missus, when I win the national lottery, that is what I am having in my house, mate. There's no doubt about that's what it is. But that is my tank. It's absolute, and his head and all of his sump areas all in the back room a lot.
Yeah, that's that Martin with the 4,000.
Oh, mate, that is my dream tank. That is just perfection every way you could ever wish for.
It looks like the real sea in his
house.
Looks
like the ocean. Looks like the ocean.
It looks like the ocean.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's an incredible tank. But you know what though? I mean, I look and I think how hard it is to keep ours maintained, you know, like our little tanks and stuff,
Not yours, you got all yours automated.
Well, yeah, but you still got to look after it. You still got to look after it.
Let's not go down that road.
Tobias, he's one of the tech guys. He's got everything plugged in.
Yeah, I've got to, yeah.
Everything's plugged in.
Yeah, everything's plugged in, mate. Listen, if you can enjoy your tank, all you got to do is you got to enjoy your tank, yeah. The little maintenance you do on your tank, or the least maintenance you can do on your tank, is the best, in my opinion. You know what I mean? If it's all automated, it's great.
He doesn't even do water changes, Tobias.
No.
Can you believe that? No water changes.
No water changes. No.
Yeah, I've seen a few tanks without water change. Yeah.
See, people.
It's not my way, but yeah.
Some people, like you said, some people, you know, they religious in their water changes every week. You know, they might do 20, 30%, whatever, and stuff like that. But I come to the conclusion that
it works for you, though.
In my mind, it was like, why change something that doesn't need to be changed? You know what I mean? So the nitrates were all staying the same, phosphates were staying the same. The you know, everything was running right. So by me doing a 10 or 20% water change, nothing's really going to change. You know what I mean? It might drop the nitrates by 2 ppm or 1 ppm, but nothing like serious is going to happen. So for me, I just thought, well, unless something seriously happens, then I'll do water change. And touch wood, nothing really has. You know what I mean? Nothing really has, mate. It seems to be okay. But I don't want to jinx myself, because I've jinxed myself a few times.
If I would do a water change weekly, my corals would be wondering, what's that? Fresh water.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm doing water change about maybe 4 to 5 weeks distance, about that.
Yeah. I think mine was the last. Was what 2 years ago, 19 months, 2 years ago. I think the last one I did. But you know, I mean, I've got the salt in here. I don't even know where the salt goes off. Does salt go off by any chance? Because I don't know if it does, I'm going to throw the bucket out. I don't know whether it goes off or not. You know what I mean?
If Germany get knocked out the Euros and England win, then Steve can change his water in his tank. That's what we'll say. If England win the Euros, then you can do a water change.
And then if all my coral die, Jay, I'm going to come to your house.
Hey, you're not having these. No chance. Tobias, I love the name of your channel. It's kind of conservation, Sea Friendly Reef. What do you think about, you know, the issues around kind of bans and people trying to grow coral rather than take it from the sea? And sustainability and things like that. Where do you fit on that? And obviously the hobby needs to be sustained in the future. You know, where do we get corals from? Is there a lot of aquaculture in Germany? I'm just interested to know your thoughts on all of that sort of thing affecting the ocean.
Yeah, so I think corals maybe is not the problem, because I see the problems in fish. because it's so hard to breed those animals. And we are able to breed all this SPS stuff with doing frags and something like that. So yeah, the name Sea Friendly Reef was because I started my little nano tank with that Instagram account, and I named it Sea Friendly Reef because I wanted just to have tank grown corals in that tank. So that's the story behind the name. And yeah, I know also in this tank there are wild caught corals. I think the industry and all the others are destroying the nature much more than the reefer hobby is doing it. That is not, it's also not okay. So I think it's very important to show how the animals are caught out of the ocean. My third channel, which is planned, is a lot about that. So I'm able to interview peoples, for example, coral growing peoples from public aquariums. They have sharks and that stuff caught from the wild. And I think it's so important to know more about that, because when you are buying a dog, you know everything about that animal. But then you're going into a fish store and you just say, okay, that, and that. Most of the people don't have any plan where this stuff comes from. And me also, if you say, okay, this Goniopora, where is it from? I don't know. Indonesia, Australia, maybe, because I didn't check that. So I think
sorry. It's a very good point. Very good point.
Give people the choice, but they should tell us where the coral is from, or whether it's aquacultured, or if it's a wild caught fish. It should be labelled. It should be a standardized label across the whole of the industry, so that people can choose. If you want to choose a wild caught fish from Hawaii, then that's your choice. But if you want to shop for an aquaculture coral, then that should be also visible. I think that would help the industry massively.
Yeah, I think good LFS, when you're speaking to the fish shops, they will tell you the good ones. Steve's having a chat.
You shouldn't need to ask though. You should be.
No, you're right. Yeah, labeling. I think it's quite difficult for labeling a lot of coral the way they have the coral trays. I'm not using that as an excuse, but it's quite difficult if you've got rows and rows of corals. But I think there should be better labeling in terms of where they come from. But I'm sure a good shop, if you ask them, you can probably find out where they're from, and certainly the kind of conditions they need. And probably you should all be asking that, or have asked that, or have researched that before we put it in our tank. I'm more concerned about fish than coral, because I think it's easier to agricult and to grow on corals, where it's still quite challenging to breed certain fish. In America, I think they certainly have a much wider access to tank bred fish than we have. I don't know about in Central Europe, but certainly in UK, it's a lot less than elsewhere, I think, because it takes a lot of room and a lot of money to breed, and the hobby's just not big enough commercially in the UK to, for example, have many people that will breed tanks. Because when you see videos of where they're captive breeding tanks, they're massive areas with massive tanks, and they've got 100 plus in there. So it's just not commercially viable, is it? And certainly not in this country. I don't know about Tobias in Germany or in Central Europe around, for example, a tang's being captive bred on a regular basis.
Yeah, we have got a few companies here, just like Corelixy. They are one of my sponsors, and they are focused on that tank grown story. So they only sell breedings. Doesn't matter if it's about fish or corals. And I know that's a hard business, really, really hard business. And they are also supported, because when you have a shop with just tank grown corals, hold your shop, man. That's quite difficult. So I visited one coral breeder, the Aquaristik Wendel in Germany, and he focused on torches. So he has about 5,000 golden torches in a tank.
Wow.
Red Gonioporas, meter to meter. It was insane. But if you're focused on that type of coral, maybe it will work. But if you want to have a normal shop just with tank-grown corals, it's hard to survive. And that's how it is. Also with fish, so many people want to have tanks or clownfish is much easier to get as a breeding. But some fish maybe you can get for 100 or 200 euros plus for a breeding, and these people say no. Why should I spend 400 euros for a fish when I can get it for 150 euros? And that's the reason why it's very hard to bring this.
What's the prices? What's the prices of yellow tangs over where you are now? Have they gone extortionate like they are over here?
Yeah. Also in Germany. So my prices are a few weeks ago from the knowledge. So I think about 300 to 400 euros.
Wow.
Plus.
Mad, it's insane. They've gone crazy. The yellow tangs.
That's very similar to here, isn't it?
I seen one in my finger, and I mean, I knew they'd gone up a bit, and it was like, and he was selling it for £360. So yeah, it's about 370 euros, 360 euros. It's like insane, you know. When I think of like how much I bought mine for, it's just stupid prices.
Yeah,
crazy prices.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a yellow tang. I think it was £40, and that was free. I think it's 3.5 years ago. It might have been a little bit longer, but to go up tenfold basically
in that
time.
Ever.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The mark on return there is incredible. I mean,
if you ignore all the rest of if you ignore the rest of the money I've spent on the tank and keeping it running and everything else, if you look purely on yellow tang bought and yellow tang sold, I made a fantastic, like Bitcoin, as you see the pictures on Instagram and everything else. But that ignores everything else that I've probably killed and water changes and everything else that's failed in electricity. But that aside, it was a great investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So Steve, how's the tank going?
Yeah, it's going all well. I told on my last video, didn't I, about the KH keeper. Said that I had to pay the 200 quid. Didn't I? God, it was it's Tobias. If you don't know yet, the KH keeper, the Reef Factory KH keeper, I've had now but trouble, with it. Whether it's just my actual machine, I don't know, but I've just had now but trouble. So I've been in contact with them, and they have helped. You know what I mean? But then they came back saying we're bringing out the new KH keeper, which is called the KH Keeper Plus. Yeah. So I believe this has stepper motors. It has lab grade probes connected to it, pH probe, etc., etc. So the catch was I had to pay another £200 to buy it. So I was like, well, this at this moment in time is just a £600 doorstop because it's not doing what it should be doing. Do you know what I mean? So I had to buy it. I had to pay for it, but I don't receive it for another 5 weeks. So you've got to pay for something and then don't receive it for 5 weeks. So it's like it's just baffling me, with everything. But it is what it is. It's been done. And then
that sucks. Yeah,
it's been done. So I've got to do it, and I've got to hope that this one works. Do you know what I mean? But you look at it like it's £800. So it's an £800 investment just to test alkalinity. That's all it's for, really. So it's a lot of money. When you think you could have bought a GHL. GHL, the whole package for the GHL for that. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe I rushed into it, but it is what it is. I've done it now, so I can't do anything about it. And then the Chalice, which broke, I managed to Tony. So a massive shout out to Tony from D&D. He managed to send me out the part for it, so that's working. That's all back up.
Was that the float switch got stuck in it, or
no, No, you know what it was? It was it's called, it's like, I think it's called a crucifixion or crucifixion or something like that.
I thought that was the KH keeper.
Pardon?
I thought that was the KH keeper that was the crucifixion.
No, this is well, it was, yeah, but no, this is like the on the motor part, it snaps. Basically, it snapped the screw and snaps inside it. And he said I might have, like, I might have knocked it. When I put my hand in the sump, I might have just knocked it and just dropped it down. And basically, he said it's designed for it to snap. The actual roller. That part is actually designed to snap instead of the motor burning out. So he sent me a part, and it's all back and running. So everything's up. Yeah.
Cottage Reefs just said you've now got an £800 doorstop instead of a 600.
Please don't say that. Please don't say that. Come on now. Give me a bit of hope.
Saltwater do an alkalinity test, Steve. Have you heard of it? It's quite cheap, I think.
Say that again, mate.
Saltwater have alkalinity tests. And in fact, Ross has got a full kit for 30 quid.
I could have bought 8. I could have bought 80. I could have bought 80 of them, mate. You know what I mean?
That's what you want, mate. Saltwater.
I could have bought 80 of them, mate. You know what it is?
That sounds German. Is Saltwater German?
I didn't. Sometimes it's so hard to understand your accent for non-English people like me.
You wouldn't be the first person who said that. We had a previous guest who turned up late on the live stream. You know who she is, Cajun Reefer, and she couldn't understand us either.
Oh, that's it.
Paul, you are great. Jay also. But the other two guys, sometimes it's heavy, yeah?
Yeah, apologies.
So,
two guys.
But I know them. Yeah.
So are they German?
Salifert.
Is it
Are they German?
No, he's not seen it, I don't think. Never seen it.
So I know the brand. I've seen.
Yeah.
I didn't use it, but.
Yeah, it just sounds German. It sounds like a German brand.
Sorry.
Carbonate, Profitest. Der KH-Alk Profitest. Maybe it's German, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It sounds
German.
it.
Yeah,
it could be, of course.
Yeah.
It could be German, yeah.
that's another sponsor, Tobias. There, another German sponsor.
Okay. I didn't recognize that. Sorry.
So Steve, there was one question earlier on around when you get the new KH keeper. Have you got to send the old one back?
Yes, you do. Yeah. Basically,
So
what they do is they contact you a week before they're sending you the new one out. So they contact you, and then you have to package it all up. You have to put it in the box where it came in, etc. But you've got to keep. Listen to this. You've got to keep the actual power supply because they don't send you a power supply with it. So you've got to send it. You've got to keep the existing power supply, and send everything else back with it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So at my cost, bear in mind. So I've got to pay for it as well to send it back to them. You know what I mean?
Sounds like a great deal, Steve.
Exactly. I mean, you know where you sit down and you think I've been screwed over here. That's the way I feel, mate. You know what I mean?
That Black Pearl Reefer. That summarised it really well. You could have had an ATI professional water test every month for 2 years for the same price.
Black Pearl Reef. You know what, mate? You know how to cheer me up. I appreciate that. Cheers, mate. Cheers. I'm on the Desperado. Strong stuff today. I've got to be on the strong stuff, mate.
That sums it up. Does it? Desperados, Steve?
Because that's what I am, mate. I'm Desperado, yeah. I am a Desperado at this moment in time.
Typical UK beer.
Typical UK.
Yeah.
Mexican, my friend. Jay must have had a pay rise. He's on Corona.
I know.
Pay rise, Jay.
Because the sun is out. So I'm having
So when the sun is out, you got Corona, and then when it's winter, the John Smiths comes out, and when it's really cold, it's the Yorkshire tea.
You know me well, Paul. You know me well. You absolutely do. Whenever the D&D fans are on, the Corona is out. And the fans, where are your fans, Tobias? Does your aquarium not get too hot in the summer?
Yes. So you can just put some cold beer inside. That's it. No problem. Yeah. So I also normally do just the old school method and put some frozen water in bottles and put it in the tank, and that's it. But yeah, we also struggle here in Germany with those temperatures.
Yeah.
But I thought about a climate system in that room because it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't make any sense to cool up your tank with some equipment. This is so expensive. You can also climate the whole room with that. Yeah. So maybe that's always the best decision. Yeah.
It's been a difficult week in the UK. Our weather has been warm, so keeping our tanks warm this week has been difficult.
Do you know what, Jay? Jay, my tank's temperatures have not moved at all, and it's been 27, 28 degrees. What I do, I just keep all the doors and windows closed. Downstairs, do not open the doors and windows, and the heat doesn't get in.
I do that when I have to.
That's what I've found.
Yeah. So believe it or not, I know I live in a colder climate, but my fans haven't even came on recently either. So I just the same as you, Paul. I've got the windows closed and the fans haven't been on.
Yeah.
Ross, you live in the Outer Hebrides, Ross. I don't think they're going to come on forever.
It was 27 degrees this week, mate.
What was that? 20 what?
27.
Serious?
Yeah, it's been 27, 28 today
Scotland.
here.
No way. You wait till Sunday.
No, I'm not having that. It wasn't even that down here. 27 degrees.
27 degrees, mate.
Wow.
Get out of it.
That's crazy.
It's going to be Sunday is going to be the hottest day of the year. So
Sunday is, I believe so.
Your fans should be on then.
Hopefully.
Best beer from Germany. What's the best drink in Germany?
Oh, I saw a comment right here. Beer in the snacks. The best beer. We've got a local store here. It's called Schlappeseppe. So it comes around the Frankfurt area. So it's my favorite beer. But I'm a fan of the German Radler. So it's a mix of beer with a lemonade. And so the reason is you can drink a lot of more from that and can drive. So that's
over in this country. That's called a shandy. That's called a shandy over here.
Or lager top.
It's called a shandy or a lager top. That's what they call it over here, don't they?
I haven't had a shandy or a lager top for years.
A shandy,
You're missing out.
You see,
in a Stein, on this one. We should have had a Stein glass with beer in.
Yeah. I just seen a what do you call a thingy there saying that Cajun Reef. Oh no, it wasn't Cajun Reef. Somebody said that there was drinks in a vending machine. Which one was that? Who said that? He loved working in Germany. There. No, that's not it. Machine. Yeah, he said.
There we go.
I love working in Germany. Beer in the snack vending machines. God, I wish we had that over here. That'd be fantastic.
I don't know.
I've never
let's get a picture of one. Let's see if there's a picture.
I've never seen beer in vending machines over here. That's for sure.
What in the work canteen? That'd be good, wouldn't it?
I've seen them in a few shops. We went to a garden furniture shop a couple of months ago, and they had a fridge, and you can get a drink. There was beers in there. That's the first time I've seen that in a shop. You could have a soft drink or you could have a beer. So we just took a couple of beers.
Sometimes we have also beer in McDonald's here.
Serious?
Yeah.
No way.
Really? Can you imagine the trouble in the Mackie D's over here if you could go and have 2 or 3 Big Macs and a case of beer? It would just kick off even more than it usually does.
Make 2 of them.
People kick off here over milkshakes, let alone beer. You know what I mean? Where I live, that's for sure. No chance of that, mate. No way. That's insane.
So in Germany, the easiest thing to get 4 o'clock in the night, doesn't matter, is beer and cigarettes. That's a fact.
I need to move.
Available.
I need to move over there.
Come over through a little reef tank beer tour through Germany. Yeah.
I need to move over.
The best time to go, Steve, is Christmas. The Germans do Christmas better than anyone.
You know what?
The Christmas market.
The German markets have always watched.
I love the smell. The food is amazing.
But you also have some greats in the UK too.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I mean, Manchester, where I'm from in Manchester, we have like one of the biggest in Europe. You know, like because it's not just like in the centre. It's the stalls are all over Manchester, all over the place, and people can go there. And you could literally walk around it for 2 days or something, and you still won't have gone to all of the places.
Awesome,
it's getting bigger, Manchester. You know, with the Christmas markets, they do make a really good effort with it. But
the one in Cologne.
When I see pictures in Germany, the German market in the square and all that, I just think, wow, that just looks
Cologne is the best one, I think.
Yeah, it just looks incredible. It does. It really does look good. But yeah, it's definitely one on the bucket list to go. Good to go to one time, that's for sure.
Yeah, well,
I think that, and also Oktoberfest as well. I'd love to go to that. That looks really good.
I've never been to Oktoberfest. But we have so many little Oktoberfests here. So
all year round.
Time for Oktoberfest, you just have to go out of the street, and in every city you've got Oktoberfest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible.
It is.
We need to go on our little reefing. When we get our reefing tour, we'll have to go and visit.
Yeah. I think we should do that. You know,
you're driving the bus, Steve. You're coming.
we can. You know what? We can hire like a minibus, and I can drive it. Hire a minibus so we can drive it.
Come over, no problem.
That'd be great, that mate.
There's 52 in the chat. That's a 52-seater. We're all on.
That would be fun.
It's very clever. So we say it's a reef tank stream, but we normally are just talking about beer. So next time I'm going to pick up all my friends and we can do a much bigger live stream and have a few bottles next to it.
That would be awesome.
That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? That would be great.
We would love that.
Yeah, definitely.
We would love that.
Yeah.
So what's happening next week on the live chat then is because obviously something else is happening at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah, so we was going to ask what people think, because next Friday night is England versus Scotland in the Euros. Yeah, so I think we're a little bit torn ourselves. I mean, Ross isn't too fussed about football. I think I would like to watch it, but I can be on the live stream and then also watching it. But I think what people think around the live stream for next week, because we'll be here for you guys as we have been. We really enjoy it, and we enjoy your company. But it's a case of what people want to do, because we're all happy to crack on next Friday night or give it a miss. It depends what everyone wants to do. So Bravo 20, football is rubbish. Reefs.
Yeah, in the chat, can you let us know if you want us to do the live stream, because it's exactly the same time as the game.
Yeah, to Cajun Reefer, it is soccer, clearly. It's
soccer.
Oh, yeah.
Soccer America. That's
rather than the World Championship of NFL when it's just America on its own.
Yeah.
Are you going to watch Tobias? You're going to watch the Euros?
So I'm not that kind of football fan. In Germany, nearly every person is watching it. And my girlfriend and me, we said, okay, when the big plays are, we are going to the zoo and to the cat and so on. So we are taking the places which are normally filled.
Football in Germany is a religion. God,
Yes, yes.
Oh, it's a religion.
I'm the outlaw from hell when I say, okay, I'm not that kind of football fan. So,
Oh, yeah.
it's better than to took the wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And reefing. I think a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mix it up.
We can do both.
I might scare the fish if England score, though. I might end up scaring the.
So Tobias, have you seen? I don't know if you're aware of Reef Dog. He's one of the biggest YouTubers in the UK. Really good guy. We've had him on here before. He's doing a YouTube playoff and of all the favourite YouTube channels. He's got them in groups. Brilliant. And Sea Friendly Reef is in one of the groups. It's really good. There's I think about 6 or 7 groups. There's one group which is a group of death, which is Group A, if I remember rightly. It's got BRS. It's got 3 of my favourite channels. It's BRS and there's Reef.
Tidal Gardens.
Tidal Gardens, who's fantastic, and also Reef Builders. I think are the 3 in the group of death. So I'm undecided who I'm voting for. The 2 out of the 3 on on that one. That's a great idea.
When does the voting start for it, Paul?
I thought it was the weekend, and he's doing it via the community, isn't he? And I suppose if you sub to him and you got notifications switched on, you'll get the notification on your mobile to how he's doing. I'm assuming he's doing I think he's doing a group a day, isn't he? And then it just gets whittled down. The top 2 going to a different group and things like that. So it looks good. So I think actually what everyone's saying, I haven't said anyone who says just do football. It's either reefing all day long or a combination of the 2. So I think that means we'll be live next week. Now, whose channel are we on? Are we on yours, Steve? Because I'm on Ross's, sorry, because we swapped, didn't we, for last week? Yeah. Okay, so we're on Ross's at 8 o'clock next week. We're out of time, as Julie has reminded me as always, or us as always. So thank you very much. Tobias, it's been an absolute blast and a pleasure getting an insight into your tank life and also your life in general, how busy you are with YouTube.
It was an honor for me too. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. So I think that's it. Thank you for everyone who's watching, because I know, weather's really good out there, and I'm still surprised how many people we get every week who take their time out for 2 hours to be with us. So it's been a pleasure as always, guys. So thank you very much. And we'll see you next week for reefing and football.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, guys.
Bye-bye. Have a nice weekend.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.